helping me on some of the technology side. I'm going to give you, I'll give you a formal introduction here in a second, but I'm going to talk a little the why, the how, the what. Some of you, depending on where you're, depending on if you're from Waconia Fire, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis,
Duluth.
Duluth. Depending on where you're at, you might recognize me. And so, I'll give you a formal introduction here shortly. But I want to give you tonight, and in these series of webinars, I want to give you practical strategies that, for some of you, you might be already incorporating these, and you might be thinking, this is something that my family should have, or this is something that some of my coworkers, my buddies should have. And for some of you, it might be brand new. And so wherever you are on your journey, I'm going to dance with you wherever you're at. No judgments. No, I'm not your mother. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. But I just want to be a resource throughout this series. And we're going to, like I said, give you this information and make it fun, make it entertaining, and most importantly, make it practical. To George's point, nutrition plays a big role. Would you flip we're going to do a quick PowerPoint, and then I'm going to do a cooking demonstration, and then we'll continue. But, nutrition is it's an essential component if you want to be safer on the job, if you want to be more pain-free. You got to click my thing. And that's why we really push hard on it. Now, just let me tell you briefly about myself. Trained chef, been doing this about 20 years, which is kind of crazy. Holy cow. 43 years old, so started in my 20s. Published author, regular on Fox 9 television. And my whole mission is to help all of you watching tonight. And again, I can't thank you enough for giving up your time, because you could have done a lot of other things in this hour. But my whole mission is to help you watching. That for you, if you've got kids, if you have grandkids, help you lead happier, healthier, better quality lives using smart nutrition. And that's what this whole series is about smart nutrition: nutrition, sleep, hydration, physical activity. Each webinar will break it down and focus on one of those. But, anything that I can give you that is new for you, that helps you go in a positive direction that you were not doing yesterday, is progress. I'm a firm believer in baby steps. Now, we work with all sorts of organizations, big and small. And I mentioned a couple fire departments. We've been working with manufacturing firms. We've been working with various cities with fire, police, public works. Specifically, I mentioned St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, Waconia. We've done stuff, Eden Prairie. One of my dear best friends is up in Duluth. He might be on the call tonight. I don't know. But he's a firefighter right now. My uncle was a firefighter in LA County. He was a career firefighter. So I think we got a pretty good idea, what your world is like. Whether you're a career firefighter or you're paid on call, whatever your role is, you have this, I'm not trying to sound grandiose, but you have this duty to fulfill being one of the pillars in the community. And when you take care of yourself and you continue to have the support you need to take care of yourself, well, you can better support your community. So I'm just trying to be one of those tools to help you. And again, I can't thank you enough for the opportunity. So we get that. And what I want you to be thinking about, let's just real quick 2-second story. Imagine that you've got a huge fire, huge apartment complex blazing on the north side. You got access, you got, for your tools, for water, but on the south side, you have no water, you have no access to it. You've got problems. I want you to think of nutrition from that lens. If you're eating right at home, but when you're at the station, you're whipping out frozen pizzas and lean cuisines and just whatever makes sense because it's convenient, and you're just feeding yourself versus nourishing yourself, you're going to create some serious problems for yourself. And if you're not getting what I'm talking about, you will be here very, very shortly. Before I get into the cooking demonstration, I want to just give you quick context for why we focus on this, and it's really an echo of what MinFire is doing, focusing on helping firefighters with cardiac cancer and emotional health. So this is like real stuff, and your jobs are incredibly stressful. So I'm not saying like, hey, if you do everything I say, life's going to be perfect. I get that. I totally get that. That's not the case. But again, anything you can do today that's positive that you weren't doing yesterday, is progress. So just keep it up. Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick little context as to why this matters, and then we're going to get into sort of the meat of it. 70% of deaths today are due to chronic diseases. Again, I'm echoing Minfire here in many ways, but you can see this, heart disease, stroke, cancer, diabetes, arthritis, respiratory disease, inflammatory bowel disease, Alzheimer's disease. Big problems, a lot of complications. This is an issue to say the least. Problem with this is that half the population has one of these diseases, and 25% have two or more of these diseases. Oh, by the way, I didn't say it. I got so wrapped up in getting into this. What I'm giving you today, this didn't all come from my thing sloshing up in my head, my brain. It didn't all come from me. I've got a team. Just like you all have a team to do your job when you're on, I've got a fantastic team of dietitians, researchers, chefs. We put delicious and nutritious. We make it simple, quick, delicious. We've got writers, videographers, publisher, editors. So I'm really fortunate. And tonight, all the webinars, we went digital back in March when the world went to heck. And so now we're doing all of our presentations via webinar. And I've got producer Jana, who does moderating and helps with technology. So I'm super lucky, super blessed to be able to have a team. And I want to make sure that I don't forget that. Okay, sorry, coming back into right now. Hey, can everybody hear me or see me? Say something in the chat box. Just want to make sure that you can. Sometimes technology gets funny, and anyways. Okay, as I was saying, this is significant, this whole chronic disease thing. As with our current lifestyle, statistically speaking, we're going to get one or more of these chronic diseases. So again, as a firefighter, your body's under a tremendous amount of stress. A lot of firefighters get heart attacks off the job. It's one thing to be protected when you're on the job. Well, how do you take care of yourself throughout this whole thing? And this is a big deal. So we got to figure out how to, again, bring in support for yourself, for your buddies in your department, on your shift with you. It doesn't matter what shift, right? Life happens. You got to take care of yourself. I want you to think about this too, is once you get a chronic disease, usually it's irreversible. You live with the effects for the rest of your life. So again, taking this really seriously. For firefighters, the life expectancy, actually, I'm going to get into that in just a second. 70% of these diseases are self-induced, so meaning our lifestyle choices. Bad sleep, bad diet, too much stress. Okay, it's kind of the world that my uncle lives in. Now, he retired about 5 years ago, and it's amazing how he's now taking care of himself, but a lot of damage was done. And anyways, I'm going to get emotional talking about that. Okay, for firefighters, and this is what really bugs me. National average, folks, 12 years shorter life expectancy than non-firefighters, okay? So I think you understand, the severity of this and, again, why Minfire is trying to do what they're doing. Again, how do you how do you take care of yourself? And I know a lot of you are doing stuff, and there's a lot of people aren't. Maybe they don't have the time or the resources or the confidence to do some of this stuff, so that's why I'm hoping to fill some of those gaps. At the end of the day, if you want to have a better quality of life and a longer life now and when you retire, we've got to do something about this now. Okay, so that's all the deal. So let's talk about nourishment, ladies and gentlemen. When it comes to nourishment, it's absolutely key. And it's not just about being, can you click on my deal? That's okay. It's not just about being healthy, okay? At the end of the day, it helps you be safer on the job. It's going to help you be more pain-free the next day. And obviously, it's going to help improve your quality of life now and in retirement. Now, I'm going to get really specific on how does this help you be safer on the job, because that's a bold statement, okay? I'm going to tell you how it does, and I'm going to tell you how it helps you be more pain-free. And if anything, let's just say you like what I'm talking about when this is all said and done, but you're like, well, I don't know where to start. Maybe you just focus on the things to avoid, okay? All right, so having said that, really want you to focus on framing how you look at food. Food works for you or food works against you. How many of you, if any of you are on Duluth fire, there was a fairly big fire, as I understand, just a couple days ago, middle of the night, if I'm not mistaken. You go do your duty, you're exhausted, you're strained, your body's worn out, you're depleted. If you go back to the station and pop a pizza in the oven, all jokes aside, because it's quick and convenient, you're going to wake up feeling inflamed, swollen, sore. I mean, it's like the worst thing you can do, and that's food working against you. So I hope after today's session that you'll have a little better understanding, if you don't, as to how you can use food to your advantage. You can use it, be in control, and have it work for you rather than be controlled by it and be at the mercy of what it can do to you if you're not careful. Okay, we got 4 components. We'll be talking about nutrition today, and then we'll get into sleep, hydration, physical activity. Different groups have different needs. Whether you're a salesman, a construction worker, a police officer, a teacher, a firefighter, in your case, you have to use these 4 components in different ways. And for firefighters, probably the number one thing you do, and you already know this, or I hope you do, is being optimally hydrated. And we'll get into that one, and we'll get into that in a future webinar. But if you're not optimally hydrated and you go into a big event and your body core temperature fluctuates even slightly, it could potentially alter your life. So you got to figure out how to use these things to your advantage again, so that you can be safer on the job, more pain-free. And that's what we're going to get into right now. Nourishing is different than eating. You can eat to live, or you can nourish to thrive. When you nourish your body, you will perform and feel your best. There's 3 things to focus on, and I'm going to talk broad generalities real quick, and then we're going to get into the nuts and bolts. So you want to focus on protein, animal or plant-based, and I forgot to update the slide. You can't read part of it. Sorry about that. Animal or plant-based protein, slow carbohydrates, so vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and then healthy fats, predominantly vegetable fats, some animal fats, that sort of thing. So those are 3 things to focus on. I'm going to put together for you now this awesome chicken bok-choy recipe because, I want to give you something, and we put it in the chat box. Jonna, why don't you pop it back in there? What's that?
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. We're gonna give you this recipe. We want you to be able to have something that represents what I'm talking about, but also more importantly, gives you something that you can bring in your station. Excuse me, I've got hiccups. Something that you can make at your station. If you guys do clutch, if you gals do clutch, you can have this. It's an easy recipe. It's a flexible recipe, and I want to show you, how this stuff can be easy. So I'm going to start preparing this recipe for you, and I'm going to point out the nutritional benefits. I'm going to comment about I mentioned stress and inflammation and being safer. I'll comment on that, and I've already talked longer than I wanted to, but now you can see what's going on. So I'm going to zoom in on this recipe. Did everybody get the recipe handout? Let us know. Were you able to pull it off the chat box? I just got a boring black and white one, but you got a nice colored PDF there. So we're going to do this chicken bok-choy recipe. It's flexible. If you can't get bok-choy, or you're thinking, what the heck is bok-choy? You can use broccoli and carrots, or any kind of frozen vegetable, or any kind of fresh vegetable for that matter. Substitute it in there. If you're not a chicken fan, you want to use a different meat, that's fine. If you don't do meat, but I want you to focus on that protein, you can substitute it for tofu or for beans, that sort of thing. A lot of different ways you can use this recipe, but I want to demonstrate how this can be easy, how it can be fun, and point out which food groups are going to work for you, and then we'll wrap it up and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, first thing you saw, folks, as I was heating up my pan, I was getting kind of excited because I got this fancy wok thing and I was going to use that, but not a lot of people have these, and so I thought, well, maybe I won't, because otherwise you're going to maybe not do it. So any kind of skillet will work. I got this big skillet. I got my pan on low, heat low, just to warm it up. And it's important because when you start cooking, you want your food to brown, you want to sizzle, and we don't want just to absorb the fat that we put in there. And speaking of fat, one of the foods that I want you to focus on are good fats. Be it olive oil or butter in moderation is totally cool. Avocados, walnuts. Fats are significant because they're going to help keep your blood sugar stable. Pop it in the chat box, yes or no. Are you familiar with your blood sugar? Do you ever think about, is my blood sugar stable? I want you to think about, as I'm chopping up this, by the way, I got something exciting to tell you, but I got to show you this technique here. Going to the knife here, I'm letting my knife do the work while I'm cutting up. I have some boneless, skinless chicken thighs. You could use any kind of chicken you want. But I want you to be thinking, first of all, I just let the knife guide, okay? I let my knuckles guide my knife, so I'm just cutting this up. But going to the blood sugar, if your blood sugar is stable, your body, your brain's going to be more calm, your mind's going to be more calm, you're going to have consistent energy, you will be able to respond to situations, to quick decisions. Maybe there's you're at an event and you got to deal with some, really upset, scared people. When you have a stable blood sugar and you go to that event, you will be able to, with certainty and confidence and calmness and professionalism, interact with them. But if your blood sugar's all over the place, if you're all jacked up on caffeine, if you're sleep deprived, and I say that knowing that firefighters, that's like kind of the bane of your existence, getting quality sleep. I get that, okay? Keep your blood sugar stable. And what else is significant about that? I'm going to tell you in a second, but I'm going to add some sesame oil. We're using a little sesame oil in here for a high smoke point and a little bit of flavor. We're going to pop the chicken in. Everybody saw how I chopped it up. You want a sizzle. I got a sizzle. It's really good. And you could use this. That could have been my little holder, but I didn't do it that way. Anyways, for food safety, to prevent foodborne illnesses, I am going to switch out my cutting board. I got a new cutting board. I've got a clean knife, and thanks to glove magic, now my hands are all clean. But I'm going to let this start cooking. Anyways, going back to blood sugar. If your blood sugar is going all up and down, it doesn't matter if you're a firefighter or stay-at-home mom or whatever. If your blood sugar is going up and down throughout the day, that will increase cortisol in your body, your fight or flight hormone. And cortisol is good to have because it can help you get really focused and all that kind of stuff. The problem is if you are constantly stressed out and you have super high cortisol levels, you are going to have that jacked up cortisol all the time is going to increase inflammation in the body. I want you to think about it, and you don't have to say if you don't want to, but who wakes up stiff and sore? Anybody? Leg pain, joint pain, hip, knees. Anyone suffer from chronic headaches? Anyone suffer from digestive pain? That is a source of inflammation, and if that inflammation stays in your body, if it stays consistent, you won't know. Well, you may know, and you may not know until you get diagnosed with a chronic disease. So if you want to minimize chronic diseases, you got to keep inflammation levels down, and one way you can do that is by keeping your cortisol levels down, and you can do that by keeping your blood sugar stable. Now, another problem, folks, is if your blood sugar is all over the place, that spike, that constant stress on the body, that will affect the hormones that regulate your sleep. Now, sleep is it doesn't exist in most firefighters' lives normally, right? Unless you're off. Well, if your body isn't getting good sleep, now you have got problems. And we're going to talk about why sleep is so critical to help you have a better quality of life and a longer life, and minimizing chronic diseases and minimizing swelling and joint pain and helping you rejuvenate your body in another class. But I just want you to be thinking that these things are all connected. Okay? I mean, sorry, I digress. When we did this amazing program with City Minneapolis about 5 years ago now, and I did multiple 24-hour shift visits, and so I had heard with my uncle and my good friend up in Duluth, I had heard about stories about what it's like being a firefighter on call on the job with a 24-hour shift. But I spent that time, and you think about it for a second. You're sitting there, you're doing chores, you're cleaning, or you're just hanging out reading, a magazine, or you're doing something, you got downtime, and all of a sudden the bell goes, and you gotta haul tail and get out there in less than a minute to get your turnout gear and get on the truck and go. That puts a lot of stress on your body. Then you're jacked up, your adrenaline's going. Well, you have to be able to decompress that, and the sleep and the right foods and keeping your blood sugar stable is super critical. Okay, so I have, folks, going back to the recipe. Everybody with me on that? If I'm saying anything that, I get all the ideas in my head, and I'm just excited to be with you tonight, so sometimes I think it comes out, but may not. If I said something that doesn't make sense, please let us know, and I'll be happy to, John will tell me, and I'll clarify. going into the recipe right here, we have, I've chopped up a chicken. By the way, I did half the recipe just to show you, but I've used some chicken thighs, as I said, and I'm chopping that up. I am going to now take mushrooms, which I left in the fridge. So let's gonna grab some mushrooms. All right, we got some mushrooms. And I'm going to quickly wipe them up. Does anybody have any questions about what I have said so far? A cooking question, meal prep food question, any kind of question, talk to me. Say something, folks. Okay, I got these. These are all good. We got some cremini mushrooms.
Ken wants to know, are chicken thighs the healthiest cut of chicken?
Thanks for asking the question, Ken. Chicken thighs, a couple things. We'll step back for a second. So today's commercially or conventionally raised chicken, the thigh and the breasts are actually pretty close in fat content, and obviously a chicken breast is bigger than a thigh. So if you go, actually piece per piece, you got more protein in the chicken breast. But to your point, I would say that maybe the chicken breast might be slightly healthier, but maybe look at it a little bit differently. One second, we're gonna slice up these mushrooms real quick. I like to use thighs. I like the flavor of them. So if you like a little richer chicken taste, go the thigh route. If you like a milder chicken taste, go the chicken breast route. But this idea that chicken breast is healthier than chicken thighs because of how chickens are raised these days isn't necessarily the case. Now, if for any of you that are, have chickens, or you have friends that raise chickens, you have access to, like local grown chickens that aren't, that are like foraging, and then the thigh meat's going to be different. It's going to be fattier. The breasts are going to be leaner, and the breasts will actually be healthier. So that's a good question. Just kind of depends on the kind of chicken. All right, we're going to get the mushrooms going in here with the chicken. You got a question?
Yep.
Yeah.
So Jody is asking, what is your take on keto in the fire service when there's no form of long-acting carbs? I honestly cringe because I'm a marathoner, but also don't see a huge difference in marathon training and fire grounds.
Okay, so if I understand, you asking, is there a benefit to doing the keto diet while you're working? Is that kind of, okay, I think that's what you're saying. Now, I'm going to try to answer your question, Jody, and let me know if I don't do it effectively. We talked healthy fats. So healthy fats keep your blood sugar stable. They help boost your metabolism. They're going to also help rebuild cells, brain membrane, nerve cells. I mean, avocados, walnuts, that sort of thing. Super critical to have, like ridiculously critical. Now, on the next thing that we had was the chicken. Protein, we know that it's the building blocks of muscle, but also it helps in the recovery and rejuvenation process if you get good quality sleep. Also helps you feel fuller longer. Also keeps your blood sugar stable. The fat that, like I use sesame oil, which isn't a bad fat, but it's not like the ideal example of what I'm talking about. But like I mentioned, the things I just did. When you have a higher fat, higher protein combination meal with low carbohydrates, it actually takes longer to digest those proteins and healthy fats. So if your body responds well to that ratio of protein, fat, and carbohydrates, that actually will work for you. Carbohydrates obviously are necessary to replenish the muscle glycogen stores after you've had a stressful experience, whether you're training for your marathon, or you had a big event, or you had a workout. So you do need those carbohydrates. But you may want to reframe how you look at it depending on what, you probably are in tune with what works for you. And is it more of a ketogenic approach, or maybe it sounds like you need to focus more on a more balanced protein, fat, carbohydrate approach? Let me know if I answered your question, and if I didn't, let's connect. I can give you more comments or thoughts on that. I appreciate you asking the question. Okay, so we're cooking up our mushrooms with the chicken, and I can guarantee you something, ladies and gentlemen, that this is actually really easy if you're not giving a presentation, because I got all this stuff I want to tell you. But anyways, hot pan, got it going. We're sizzling that up. It's great. I gave you my recipe, and in full truth, I have a tendency not to like follow exact step by step by step. Now, I use what I say I'm going to use, and I get the finished product. But for example, we talk about cooking the mushrooms for, with the chicken for 2 to 3 minutes, and then, adding the Bok-Choy. Well, we're going to add the Bok-Choy, but then I'm going to immediately add, some the soy sauce. And if you want to add some fish sauce, you could do that. If you like Southeast Asian inspired flavors, you could do that. I'm going to add some crushed red pepper, but you can do these, there's flexibility. For those of you that are bakers out there, baking's more of a science, so you want to make sure that you got to kind of follow it to a T, otherwise you might mess it up and that won't be good. Okay, I think I'm going to slice this up. A couple different approaches. Again, watching your knuckles. I'm letting the knife do the work, and I'm just doing this slicing action like this, rocking motion, or you could just do it like that. But because I have these leaves, I want to make sure that the leaves get sliced, and not my fingers. That's why I have my knuckles doing the work and guiding in. Yes, Riley, you absolutely will get the recipe. Go ahead, John, and pop it down.
And then Jody said, yes, I won't do
good.
keto, however. I have a coworker that does it and isn't getting the calorie load, very short on calories, but also they're not adding any fat.
Well, so you now know, and here's the challenging thing, ladies and gentlemen, about nutrition. Nutrition experts and my registered dietitians and my nutritionists, they know their stuff, and I have obviously been immersed in this for a long time now. The challenge with it is that it truly is personalized. So what works for me may not work for producer Jana, but may work great for Jody, but not for Riley, but awesome for George, but not for Anthony, and not for Ben. You get my point? So, because you'll hear some people say, I'm on the ketogenic diet, and my inflammation levels are non-existent. I got energy through the roof. I'm sleeping great. Yada yada yada. You hear people say things if they're on a vegan diet, or you hear the opposite. So you have to figure out what works for you. Some people may have a very specific health need that requires certain types of food. Like, for example, Bok-Choy or spinach might be a problematic food for someone, but be really awesome for me. So you have to figure out what works for you. And I would say, Joy, going back to your comment, having someone that is trying to, again, the demands of the job. I'm assuming that they're a firefighter. It sounds like they are. May want to reconsider what are they having to help facilitate them getting through the day with energy to spare. And again, this whole safety and pain, body pain type thing. I think that's a compelling reason to really dial in as to which foods do I need to focus on and which foods do I need to avoid. And that comes to the third part on what to focus on. So we talked a little bit about protein. And by the way, folks, I've got a lot more information that you can get through on our website. And of course, there's all sorts of, nutrition and health resources out there. You got to figure out what works for you and then, act accordingly on it. If I can help, happy to do that. I got a lot of stuff giving you to. But anyways, point is, a lot of resources you can take off the website. The third one that you want to focus on, I had to ask, what are you doing?
I'm trying to. Well, I sent it, and some people are not seeing it.
Okay. I know what I'm good at, and it's doing this. I'm not good at what she's working on. That's why she's doing it, and I'm not. The third thing that I want you to think about are the slow carbohydrates. So those are those fiber-dense foods. If you want to keep your blood sugar stable, there's 3 ways to do it. You eat foods with protein, you eat foods with good fats, and you eat foods with fiber. Now, there's starchy carbohydrates, there's low-starch carbohydrates. Most people need some sort of fiber and some quantity of fiber to help their digestion and to help slow the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream. But again, now that we've been learning the last 10 years that nutrition is really customized, some people can't do dairy. Some people can't do gluten. Anyways, my point is, you got to figure out what works. So I've got this bok-choy. If you want to do broccoli, if you want to do Brussels sprouts, if you want to do spinach, it'll cook like that. You would take half the time. But switch out the vegetables and do it the way that you'll want. We're going to add some fish sauce to it. I want to make a point about, actually, I'll talk about the foods to avoid in a second. Get a little tamari. I got some wheat-free soy sauce. I have a gluten sensitivity, so I use tamari, which it's a soy sauce, but it's, like I said, it's wheat-free, so that's kind of nice. I'm going to get the heat going again, crank that heat up. I really wanted to use this, but I thought I'd try to be not a little intimidating, but anyways, it's kind of fun. Okay, so we've got, we're going to add a dash of sugar in here. So I want to make a point that and you might say, hey, why are you using sugar? You know, I've heard sugar is not a good thing. And in fact, sugar is the #1 inflammation-causing food you can consume. And I'll talk more about it. In this case, I'm cooking. I added, when you break it down per serving, it's like a dash of sugar. It's nothing, okay? When you cook for yourself or someone cooks for you, you're in control of what you're putting in there. You know, a lot of times the issues that arise because of food, and again, most chronic diseases stem from chronic inflammation, and a lot of foods are inflammation-causing foods. When you cook for yourself, you can prevent that from happening because you can use the right kind of anti-inflammatory foods. And that's something I want you to think about too. As a firefighter, what is going to help you be safer on the job? What's going to help you be more pain-free the next day? Well, if you are stiff and sore, let's say you've been doing this for 20 years now, heck, maybe even 10 years, but the point is, if you've been doing it for a while, you might be stiff and sore. And if you are not getting in touch with that and helping alleviate that, you're one event from forever changing your life, and it could be a liability on you, it could be a liability on your family. And I'm not saying that to sound like I'm not trying to be mean about it, but you have such a huge responsibility that you're taking on. You've got to take care of you so you can take care of those folks. So, focusing on anti-inflammatory foods, and these are all great examples that I've commented on. Dark leafy greens, and certain foods will react to people in different ways. So you got to figure out what works for you. But these dark leafy greens and mushrooms and good protein like that are going to be great sources for you. I'm gonna add some chili flakes here. Do we have any other questions? Okay, I'm gonna add some chili flakes, and I'm going to take some citrus. You can do this a few different ways. I like this guy. Some of you that have seen me present live, maybe I even use this. I don't know, but we're gonna squeeze some of the juice out. Can you see that? I got a good shot, money shot there. All right. Gonna put some lime juice in there. How's that smell? Very delicious, she says so politely. All right. Yes. So we're going to take some of that lime juice, put that in there, and we're going to let this just cook the bok-choy. The bok-choy is a very water-dense vegetable, and when you cook it, it's going to taste kind of like spinach, but it's got the tough stalks that you saw. Not tough, but big stalks. Well, now they're going to be tender, and this is going to be fantastic. Oh, I bought green onions, and I forgot to grab them. Well, you know what? You're going to chop up some green onions. You're going to pop them in there. And I really want to put the green onions in. You want to find the green onions for me? Go run. No? Okay. I'm going to go find them. What questions do we have right now? Anybody? Talk to me, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, here's some green onions. I realize that as much as I like to give people the flexibility of doing these things, I want to show people how they can do it and make it easy and fun for them. So we're going to take some green onions here. If the ends of the green onions are funky, certainly trim them off. And that's what I'm going to do here. But I'm going to chop these in kind of large sort of inch pieces here. And then I'm going to pop them in. You can do more than that. It's going to taste phenomenal. Okay. And now I should be good. And this is basically done. Do you want to pop up the picture so we can see what it looks like?
A couple of questions.
Yes.
Marshall, what is an ideal serving size?
Ideal serving size, like
What's an ideal serving size?
Yeah, no, I get ideal serving size. Well, for what is the question. So I'll try to give you a fairly loaded answer to that, meaning with a lot of information. Recipe, with this recipe that we're doing, obviously we have it tailored for 4. If you want to break it down into macronutrients, I want you to think about, again, as a firefighter, hopefully, you've got, hopefully you're really tuned in with, taking care of yourself from just like, being, mobile, and you're eating the right types of foods. And specifically, you want to focus on protein-rich foods, and maybe you go for anywhere from, roughly anywhere from 4 to 8 ounces a serving of protein. And I want you to think especially, maybe I'll keep it simple, after a big event and your body's really stressed out, you want to immediately get 10 grams of protein into your body right there to start the muscle recovery and recuperation process. And then if you have a meal before you get some shut-eye, you want to have about half your calories to be protein. That's a lot. That's really cranked up. But again, it's to help facilitate that muscle repair process. You want to have some carbohydrates with that. If you're talking, again, this is nutrition so personalized, I can't just say a blanket statement, but if you're going to have maybe every serving you have a fistful, a little bigger than the palm of your hand, or sort of fist of protein, a good fistful of slow carbohydrates, and then either the size of your thumb or a couple tablespoons of healthy fats. That's a good starting point. Again, that's sort of a broad statement. Let me know if that if that helps. And I think you were just asking about the serving size for my recipe. Serves 4, so you're going to make this and divide it by 4, okay? That'll be great. Like this was about, I sort of eyeballed it. Again, I'm doing TV magic for all of you tonight, but it'll be great. You're going to love it. I can't wait to have you try it. Oh, you're also going to throw in some cilantro. I got to be honest with you, my cilantro's seen better days here, but I'll cut some of this up. It's still pretty good. All right, what other questions we got here?
Do you want me to share the picture now?
Go ahead, yeah. We're just going to show you a picture of what it, actually, I'll serve some up.
Is that the right one? Yeah. There's
So-
rice. It's served with rice.
Yeah, you can serve it with anything. So I know there's a need for protein interest in it. What does that look like? Okay, Jody, I just talked about that. Good question on what kind of protein. At the end of the day, something's better than nothing with an asterisk. So a protein shake would be totally acceptable. Ideally, what would happen, and this is where that incorporating rituals and habits comes into place. Ideally, you have a post-event meal that's in the freezer that when the bell goes off, someone knows to go grab that, yank it out of the freezer, throw it on the counter. You go do your duty, you come back, and then you heat up that meal, and it's got the right portions of good protein, carbs, and healthy fats. If you don't have that situation, I mean, really, you're going to sit around and cook after an event? No, you're not. So maybe a protein shake would be good. Just watch the sugar content, because that's going to be the number one offender for you. I mean, I've been in numerous stations, and I mean, I want to give back to my fellow, firefighters that, support our community. And you go into the stations, you see, I'm not saying it's your stations, okay? But you see cookies and brownies and candy, and it's like, people are bringing that in to say thank you for, putting your butt on the line for us. That's probably not the best food to be doing, to be providing that. So I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but the point is, I talked about the protein. Okay.
Okay, hold on. Okay, a couple more questions.
Whatever. Yes.
You're good. Could
Okay.
you substitute spinach for Bok-Choy?
Oh yeah, for sure. So if you substitute spinach for the Bok-Choy,
Are you putting that for me?
what's it? Yeah, I am.
That's fine.
Yeah, I got demand over here. You're gonna take some sunflower seeds. Did you show the picture?
Yes, I got
Cool. How'd that, folks? Does that look tasty? That look delicious? I hope so. Let me
Looks
know.
awesome, Marshall.
Awesome. Easy to do. Again, I want to show you, I want you to just think about how do you have food work for you? And so I don't know how many of you regularly cook when you're at home, or if you clutch at your station, are you in charge of cooking? Do you like it? Does it scare the hell out of you? I mean, if you're, I think about if you like when I did my rotations with Minneapolis at their stations, and they had a run, and I'd go with, and like it was exciting, but obviously like there's no way they'd have me go out there and do anything because I'm not qualified, and it would be scary as hell and dangerous, and I have no confidence is my point. If I don't have any confidence in it, am I going to really succeed at it? So as you stretch yourself, so you might say, hey man, I got this all down, but I'm looking for more meal planning tips or how to incorporate grab and go breakfast or stuff. Build up your confidence by doing easy steps for yourself, because you'll make like let's say you do this stir fry and it's ridiculous. How's it taste, by the way?
It's very tasty.
Awesome. You do an easy stir fry like this. You made it, and you're doing it to help you get helpful, nourishing, great tasting foods into your life. So you make it, you feel pumped. Give yourself a celebration. Be like, yeah, I made that tonight. I'm feeding my family. I'm supporting my family. I did it for my crew tonight. Everybody's happy. I don't have to do the dishes or however you do that. You know what I'm trying to say. That's really key. And I just want you to think about, how do you incorporate these things? How do you, if you like the philosophy that I'm sharing, but you're thinking, yeah, but I don't like this kind of food or that kind of food, or I'm not a vegetable guy or gal, just like have a no BS conversation with yourself and say, do I want to be a liability on the guys and gals on the rig with me if there's a big event? Do I want to be a liability on my wife or husband, boyfriend or girlfriend if I have a heart attack driving down the road and run into a ditch? Kind of macabre, okay? But the point is, whatever it takes for you to frame how to use this to your advantage, okay? A lot of people just feed themselves, and I'm not I'm not militant about this with my family, but make no bones about it. You can have this help you, or it will work for you, or it'll work against you. Okay, so I think there was a couple other.
Couple questions.
Yeah. Okay.
Lucas, how
Yes.
do you recommend finding out what is the optimal nutrition plan for an individual?
What I would recommend, was that Lucas that I said?
Yep.
So what I would recommend is, first of all, are you, and you probably are because you're a firefighter, you are or should be, must be inherently active so that your body can react to sedentary nothing to quick bursts of energy, explosion type thing. So you're going to need to make sure that you're focusing on anti-inflammatory foods, number one. You're going to need to be focusing on good fats, good proteins. Probably, not always, keeping your carbohydrates more so on non-starchy with a little bit of starchy, because, again, you want to be able to have that recovery and rejuvenation process, and you will achieve that more with the protein and the fats. Now, carbohydrates are critical to help replenish muscle glycogen stores that get depleted after a stressful workout or event. And then once they're restored, then your body will use the protein to help with the healing process. So having said that, I think you need to just, like, maybe you go to a nutritionist and you say, this is my profession. This is how I understand food to react with me. 25% of Americans have a dairy sensitivity, anywhere from a sensitivity to a full-blown allergy. And the same percentage have, when it comes to gluten, it could be a mild sensitivity to single digits in the U.S., single digits to having celiac. So you've got to figure out what works for you. But I wish I could just give you an actual concrete answer, Lucas. But at the end of the day, if you eat something and you get a headache, or you get a stomach ache or gas, nausea, you notice that your feet are swollen an hour later or the next morning, and you notice that when you eat something, you get a response in your body. That's an inflammatory response. And what's happening is you got inflammation in the body. So you got to figure out how to get that out of your life, because we know where that will lead to in 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, okay? All right.
Here you go. Is
Yes.
asking, what other quick snacks do you recommend between meals or after an event to make sure we're getting the right nourishment? Looks amazing.
That was awesome! Man! Sorry. That was really good. Oh my God. Okay. Here you go. That's a really good question. I would encourage you to have protein bars. in an ideal world, you've got like, homemade low sodium beef jerky, but at a minimum go low sodium beef jerky. If you're a vegetarian, come up with a plant-based protein source. Also, if you think about if you've a sweet tooth, don't go refined carbs, cooking stuff. Maybe you have an apple or an orange because you've got, now yes, that's a carbohydrate and it will spike your blood sugar, but you get the fiber from the roughage from the actual fruit that can help mitigate to a degree the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream. So I would focus on protein-rich snacks, fiber-dense carbohydrates. So it could be, veggie sticks with hummus. It could be veggie sticks with peanut butter, the beef jerky, the protein bars. Now, when it comes to protein bar stuff, you got to read like nutrition labels. And I'm not promoting this particular bar, but the point is this only has 5 ingredients. Watch the sugar content, because sometimes there's things that they'll be like, hey, that's a healthy snack bar to keep your blood sugar stable. Might be true, but if there's like 20 grams of sugar in it, that's sort of a hypocrisy. So you got to look for sugar content. Hugo, whenever possible, get low sugar foods, because you got to keep your blood sugar stable so that you can keep your brain focused, keep your consistent energy there. And with that stable blood sugar, it's going to help normalize the hormones that regulate your sleep. I mentioned that earlier. And when you do get to have some shut-eye, you want to take advantage of it. And if you're on caffeine, if you got too much sugar and your blood sugar's all over the place, you got problems. So, Hugo, if I didn't give you enough info, let me know, and I'll get you more specifics.
Okay, next.
Oh, wait, real quick, back to Hugo, real quick. Nuts, seeds would be great, so you can get little snack packs, make your own little snack packs. I mean, keep it simple. There's no, nothing fancy. You can certainly spend, some good cash buying pre-made, convenience, healthy snack stuff, or just save money and do it yourself. Okay.
Okay. Anthony, do you have any good recipes for good protein shake with a low carb content?
Do I have any? We actually have, and some of you guys and gals that I've spoke to have our Smart Nutrition cookbook and meal planner. We actually have really great firefighter-friendly, family-friendly, freezer-friendly recipes. I got a handful of smoothies in there as well, if I'm not mistaken. Anthony, do me a favor. Will you text us your email address, and I'll go through my website and look for some appropriate, something that answers your question. As I believe I do, but I've got to look. Most of our smoothies have some kind of protein and fat through yogurt. Through yogurt or milk. It may have some vegetables, a little bit of fruit. They're generally low sugar, and I have to look at the carb counts on those. All right. Any other questions, thoughts, comments? We've got 11 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have any more food. You know what we'll do is let's flip back to the PowerPoint. I think I gave you a good snapshot. I talked broadly about the 3 foods to focus on. Again, good protein, animal or plant-based. We gave a specific example with the chicken and the Bok-Choy stir fry. We talked slow carbs. Again, fruits, vegetables, whole grains. Brown rice, good slow carb. Quinoa, good slow carb. Brown rice, starchy carb, but that's fine. I can do carbohydrates. I also need to have good protein and good fats. So I'm more of a combination guy. But we talked about slow carbs. So you think, cruciferous vegetables, dark leafy greens, winter squash. Hey, real quick tangent here. MinFire is, again, trying to support firefighters when it comes to, cancer, cardiac disease, and emotional health. I have depression that runs in our family. And I know for myself, from like October to May, it's not that warm, it's not that sunny, and it can really kick my butt. So I up a few supplements, fish oil and vitamin D, and I'm not, you may or may not need to do that if you can't get it through food. But I focus on vitamin D rich foods, and I just want to make a comment that winter squash, red curry squash, delicata squash, acorn squash, butternut squash, spaghetti squash, yams, the orange colored sweet potato yams. Those are great foods that are going to be good slow carbohydrates, but the great mineral content can help boost serotonin levels, your feel-good hormone. It's going to help you deal with that, be a little more emotionally resilient. At least that's what the studies say, and that's been my own experience. So if any of you out there are dealing with, with that, if depression runs in your family, it's critical that you look at what you eat. Obviously, talk to people. You're not alone. Look at what kind of foods are there. And if anyone wants to, ping me privately about foods that can help boost your mood, I'm happy to share that. You let me know. What was?
I got email.
Yeah.
I received Antonio's email.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get that for you. All right, we got a couple.
Wants to know how can we order your books?
You go onto our website, and actually, we got a couple. Like, in theory, you can order it off my website, but there's some hiccup. You can try ordering. If it works, it will work. Like, you'll get a confirmation, and we'll send you out the book. If it doesn't work, it won't accept your payment. And if you'd rather just call us or email us, we'll set you up and we'll get books out, and then you can cut us a check. We trust you, and you can, get us a check or credit card. So just reach out to us, call or email. Okay, I want to.
Hey, Marshall.
Yeah.
George Esbenson. Can you guys post your email?
Yeah, put it in the chat box, Chef Marshall at chefmarshallobrien.com. All right, so you should be seeing the. He will not be seeing it. Okay.
Well,
put to everybody. Yeah, my email is Chef Marshall. So CHEFMA, and we're putting in the chat. Okay, MARSHAL at Chef Marshall O'Brien, OBRIEN. You've heard that for 15 years. You should know it by now. Oh, by the way, producer Jonna is also master of the household. She's my wife, better half. She's awesome. Okay, so you give her a round of applause for helping out tonight. So yeah, Chef Marshall at chefmarshallobrien.com. Yeah, reach out. We'll take care of you. Real quick, I want to, I talked about the foods to focus on, gave you some good examples, and I'd like to I got just a couple minutes here. This is what you got to avoid. Only 4 things, okay? Added sugar. I'm not talking in an apple or banana or a peach or a pear. I'm talking in a decaf mocha. I'm talking in Skittles. I'm talking in like 80% of packaged foods in the marketplace, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of those well-intended packages of goodies that get brought to the station to say, thank you so much for helping, those things, okay? Added sugar, bad fats are man-made fats. They're partially hydrogenated trans fats. Fast carbohydrates, they're, again, cookies, the chips, the cakes, things like that. They have no fiber, so they spike your blood sugar. And then excess preservatives, excess chemicals, excess sodium. The thing with all of these things, and the reason I'm looking, I can see my PowerPoint, so I know where I'm at. The reason why this is significant is all of those actually work in tandem, and they will spike your blood sugar and they'll perpetuate inflammation in the body. Because they're readily available to us and they're so convenient, we go on autopilot and we grab those after an event or whatever. I just consider, give yourself a week of weaning those things out or start making changes, and within a month you're going to start to notice your energy levels, your inflammation, your body pain levels. If you have headaches, you'll probably notice, because like sugar is a headache trigger, excess preservatives is a headache trigger. There's a lot of stuff, and I do a class on it, and I don't have time to get into all that, but I really want you to consider, to focus just those 4 things. Get those things minimized. If you did nothing else tonight, but got those out of your life, read nutrition labels. Do me 2 seconds. Run over. There's a nutrition label thing on the back table. Read if when you're buying groceries for the week, you're buying groceries to do meals, and if there's some packaged stuff that you're going to get, look at the nutrition facts label on the back of the package and look at the ingredient list that's either at the bottom or on the side. What's that? Oh, okay, yeah, sorry. Look at that. So here's the nutrition label, okay? That's just one example. This is one of it doesn't cost you anything to know how to use it, and it's one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself to make informed decisions, because it'll tell you how much sugar and bad fats and things like that. So anyways, I really want you to just be mindful of that. I can't emphasize enough. Just get those things out. If you do anything at all, focus on those. Okay. For those of you that would like to get more information, obviously, we're accessible to you now because you're on this webinar, and you can always reach out. I answer my phone, text, social media, emails. But if you want to get on our newsletter, every month we send out a, do you have your phone on you? Every month we send out, recipes, tips, make life easier and stuff. This is really cool, okay? I'm a shiny object guy. Open up your camera, and then you hold it up to that little square thing, and it'll automatically pop up the registration for free to get our newsletter. So get the newsletter, okay? All right, takeaways real quick. Takeaways. If you want to be safer on the job, and you want to be more pain-free the next day, and in other words, you don't want to be a liability on your buddies on the rig, in the station, on your shift, your family, work on these things, okay? Nourish yourself. Avoid foods that will increase inflammation, that will cause inflammation. Focus on foods that will minimize stress, and avoid the foods that cause stress. I mean, I'm just telling you, okay? And again, it's all about baby steps. Here I am, I'm all jacked up, excited, waving my, magic spatula spoon. What is that? That's a spoon, I guess. Try one of the recipes. We've got lots of stuff at chefmarshallobrien.com. We're going to be giving you a lot of information in the subsequent webinars. Try something. Maybe what you do is, and I usually, and if I remember right, usually you kind of sign, if you clutch, you sign who cooks whatever day, but offer to do something, or take suggestions, or say, hey, anybody interested in eating something that tastes awesome and won't make you feel like garbage the next day? I guarantee you someone's going to say, what did you just say? You got my attention. Don't make a big head game out of it. Don't force it. I've done so many presentations over the years now for firefighters, and I think you know this better than I do, but if you tell a firefighter what to do, it's not going to work. So enroll them in the conversation and just be like, I got this awesome recipe, can't wait to make it. And just maybe even leave it at that and just be like, it tastes awesome. And then they're going to be like, wow, it's really good. And then you can be like, yeah, I know someone who made it and he said his headaches went away. Or someone that made it and they loved it and their stomach started feeling better, or whatever. Okay, so you got my point. We've got about 2 minutes left. If there is any questions, love to answer.
There's tanks.
Well, thank you. I want to give yourselves a round of applause. Ask these questions. Ask people, what you watched today, and if it helped. I never said I would. You got the webinar. Yeah, you got the webinar. So share it with people and take screenshots of the PowerPoint. If you want the PowerPoint, I'll give you the info. But at the end of the day, start exploring. Be curious if you're not, and just look at it like, hey, all it's going to do is help you get through the day just a little bit better, make the day a little bit easier. So anyways, all right. I think we are, yes, Terry, it will be available to watch it later. George, I think, just mentioned that the recording will be, George, where did we say the recording will be?
It's going to be on our Minfire Facebook page.
Yeah.
We'll have a link there. Then
That's
we'll put it
awesome.
out through our social media. We'll probably also send a link out statewide to everybody on our 10,000 people that are on our mailing list.
For sure. Yeah, good. Well, I am super pumped to do this series. I want to have so many people getting this information that they get in here that we have to, get a bigger account so we can get more people participating. So again, thank you so much for your time. I believe in you. Your communities that you serve believe in you. You are truly one of the pillars of the community, and the more that you continue to help yourself and take care of yourself, the better you will be able to help and support your community. So reach out to me. Look for you've got the flyer that has the dates for the next webinar, and can't wait to have you back, and get 2 more people to show up, or even 1 more person. Okay. We're going to just keep making this awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, Marshall. And we will get broader statewide, continue to promote it and add on to it. So thank you so much for investing your time. It's obvious you have a passion for the fire service. And we really appreciate what you're doing for all firefighters, and particularly supporting the Minfire initiative. So thanks. And thanks to everyone who took time out of their day to tune in. So it's great to see, and I think it's just going to grow and grow. So have a pleasant evening, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Bye now.